Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Tonight, we bring you a recap of the latest developments in the escalating tensions between Iran and its regional rivals. The United States and Iran remain locked in a bitter standoff, with no signs of a ceasefire in sight. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has made a surprise claim about a Russian-Ukrainian agreement that could ease tensions in Eastern Europe. We'll also explore how a conflict in the Middle East is straining global trade and the latest move by China on Taiwan. Let's get started with the news. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran remain escalating as a new wave of violence erupts in the Middle East, threatening to draw in more nations. Recent days have seen the biggest flare-ups in fighting in and around the Strait of Hormuz since a ceasefire began a month ago, with both sides trading fire in the Gulf amid a tenuous truce. The United States and Iran appear to be no closer on finding an end to their war after a month-long ceasefire. The situation escalated recently when the U.S. intelligence community concluded that Tehran could withstand a naval blockade for months, according to a report by the South China Morning Post. The U.S. had proposed a formal end to the war, but talks on more contentious issues, including Iran's nuclear program, remain unresolved. On Friday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke in Rome, stating that Washington was expecting an Iranian response to the proposal, although an Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson said Tehran was still weighing its response. Sporadic clashes continued between Iranian forces and U.S. vessels in the Strait of Hormuz on Friday, with Iran's semi-official Fars news agency reporting on the incident. The Tasnim news agency later cited an Iranian military source saying that the situation had calmed, but warned of further clashes being possible. The renewed violence has raised concerns about the stability of the region and the impact on global energy supplies. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical waterway for international shipping, with over 20% of the world's oil passing through it. Any disruption to navigation in the area could have significant economic consequences. As tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to escalate, the international community remains on high alert, watching closely to see how this situation unfolds. As tensions in Eastern Europe continue to escalate, President Donald Trump has announced that Russia and Ukraine have reportedly agreed to a 3-day humanitarian ceasefire. President Donald Trump announced on Friday that leaders from Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a 3-day ceasefire, including an exchange of prisoners. The agreement was confirmed by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Yuri Ushakov, Russian President Vladimir Putin's foreign affairs advisor. According to Trump, he directly asked both presidents for the ceasefire, which includes a suspension of all kinetic activity and the exchange of 1,000 prisoners. The ceasefire is set to run from Saturday through Monday, coinciding with Russia's Victory Day holiday, which commemorates the country's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. This development comes after weeks of escalating tensions between the two countries, with both sides blaming each other for continued fighting. Trump's announcement was seen as a surprise move, given the rapid collapse of previous ceasefire attempts. The White House did not provide details on how the agreement was reached or what specific conditions were met by both parties. The significance of this agreement cannot be overstated. A halt to hostilities could mark a turning point in the long and bloody conflict between Russia and Ukraine. With estimates suggesting over 13,000 deaths and millions displaced since the start of the war, any reduction in violence is seen as a welcome development. The international community has been following developments closely, with many hailing Trump's intervention as a positive step towards peace. However, critics have expressed skepticism about the durability of the agreement and the ability of both sides to stick to it. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a growing list of Hong Kong-linked vessels has found itself stranded in a strategic and highly volatile region. A growing crisis in the Middle East has left hundreds of Hong Kong-linked ships stranded in the Strait of Hormuz, according to industry leaders. The situation comes as tensions between the United States and Iran continue to escalate, with a recent temporary ceasefire offering little respite from the risks faced by mariners. The figure of 100 ships stuck in the waterway is believed to suggest that up to 2,300 seafarers are trapped, according to Richard Hext, chairman of the Hong Kong Shipowners Association. This estimate is based on an average crew size of 23 per vessel. The Hong Kong-linked ships at risk were either registered in the city or managed or owned by Hong Kong companies. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical choke point for global oil supplies, with vessels carrying around 20% of the world's crude passing through it every day. The conflict between the U.S. and Iran has sparked a global fuel crisis, disrupting supply chains and exacerbating the situation. The risks faced by mariners are significant, with industry leaders warning that even if a temporary ceasefire is in place, the danger of attack remains. The Hong Kong Shipowners Association is prioritizing the safety of its members, with HEC stating that it is very risky to try and sail vessels out of the strait. The association's efforts highlight the growing concern among industry leaders about the safety of mariners operating in the region. The U.S. government has taken aim at several international companies, imposing sanctions for allegedly providing support to Iran's military aerospace sector. The U.S. has imposed new sanctions on individuals and entities accused of aiding Iran's war effort. The State Department announced sanctions against 3 Chinese entities that allegedly provided satellite imagery of U.S. facilities in the Middle East to Tehran. These companies are said to have used this information to identify vulnerabilities in U.S. military operations. The sanctioned individuals and entities include a Chinese tech firm, a company specializing in satellite imaging, and an individual who is believed to be a key figure in facilitating these dealings. The U.S. government claims that these actions amount to a threat to national security and will continue to take action against those who support Iran's nuclear program. This move comes as tensions between the U.S. and Iran remain high following last year's assassination of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. The sanctions are also seen as part of broader efforts by the U.S. to pressure China into taking a tougher stance on its relationship with Tehran. The sanctions target those who have helped Iran acquire sensitive technology, including satellite imaging capabilities that can be used to identify vulnerabilities in U.S. military operations. By imposing these sanctions, the U.S. aims to disrupt Iran's ability to gather intelligence and prepare for potential future attacks. This development highlights the ongoing struggle between the U.S. and Iran over regional influence and security concerns. The move is seen as a significant escalation of tensions between Washington and Beijing, with implications for global security and economic stability. As tensions escalate between Beijing and Taipei, a miscalculated move by China could have far-reaching consequences, potentially destabilizing the entire Asia-Pacific region. A recent article in Asia Times raises concerns about China's potential move on Taiwan if the U.S. isn't ready to defend itself against Iran. The author argues that the ongoing conflict with Iran weakens deterrence in Asia, undermines confidence of U.S. allies and partners, and makes a conflict with China more likely. China has built a powerful military in recent years, described as the biggest and fastest buildup since World War II. According to the U.S. Department of War's annual China Power reports, the People's Liberation Army's principal near-term mission is to seize Taiwan. The PLA's naval and air forces can surround the island, while its rocket force can hammer it. China also has a significant presence in Taiwan, with a 5th column that can assist in subversion and cognitive warfare against the population. The situation matters for several reasons. First, a Chinese move on Taiwan would be a serious escalation of tensions in the region. Second, it could undermine U.S. credibility as a defender of its allies and partners. Finally, it would have significant implications for global security and stability. The article suggests that Xi Jinping might see an opportunity to make a move on Taiwan if the U.S. isn't ready to defend itself against Iran. The U.S. military still has considerable capability in the region, but it's unclear how effective it would be against China's powerful forces. Admiral Samuel Papero, the commander of USANDOPACOM, has expressed concerns about the U.S. military's readiness for a conflict with China. The article concludes that China might like its odds, especially if a quick resolution is sought, but it's not clear what the outcome would be. And that's all for today's news recap. We'll continue to monitor these developing stories and bring you updates as more information becomes available. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. If you want to stay informed on the latest global news, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We're here to provide you with accurate and timely information straight from the world of news.